This is section 1.4, properties of exponents. You're watching this video, hopefully, and we're going to go over the first part of the section. So we're going to learn today how to use zero and negative exponents and learn a first few properties of exponents. Alright, let's start with zero exponents. Zero exponents are very simple. Anytime you take a number to the 0th power, it always equals 1. Unless you're taking it 0 to the 0th power. So, 3 to the 0 equals 1. Negative 4 to the 0 equals 1. 1 million to the 0 equals 1. 1/2 to the 0 equals 1. Negative 1 million equals to the 0 equals 1. Any number except for 0 to the 0th power equals 1. So, in terms of exponents, there's something I do want to mention. The order of operations. So, here the order of operations. You are familiar with them, I'm sure. Which means exponents comes before multiplication. So, this means if you take negative 2 in parentheses square, that equals 4 because you're going to square the entire negative 2. On the other hand, if you take negative 2 squared where the 2 is not in parentheses, you have to do the exponent first. So you do the 2 squared first, which is 4, and then you apply the negative sign. So negative 2 squared without any parentheses is negative 4. So be very careful with that. Next, we'll do negative exponents. Negative exponents is the reciprocal of the positive exponent. So, a to the negative n equals 1 over a to the n, so long as a is not equal to 0. Here is a big important fact. Negative exponents do not make a value negative. If you take a positive number to a negative exponent, it's still positive. So here's an example. 3 to the negative 4th equals 1 over 3 to the 4th. So, when you take a negative exponent, you're going to move it down to the denominator, make the exponent positive, and then evaluate that value, 1 over 81. So let's take a look at example 1. A, 6.7 to the 0 power. Since it's any number to the 0 power, that's going to equal 1. Negative 2 in parentheses to the negative 4th. So we have a negative exponent, which means we move it to the denominator and make the exponent positive. So 1 over negative 2 in parentheses to the 4th. Negative 2 in parentheses to the 4th is 16, so this becomes 1/16. Go ahead and do C and D, stop the video, and see if you can get the answer. 2.5 to the 0 is 1, 5 to the negative 2 is 1 over 5 squared, which is 1 over 25. So again, with a negative exponent, make it into the denominator, put it in the denominator, make the exponent positive. So, again, negative exponents are reciprocals of positive exponents. So, if you see a negative exponent in the numerator or by itself, you're going to move it into the denominator with the exponent becoming positive. If you see a negative exponent in the denominator, you are going to move it to the numerator and again make the exponent positive. So, when you do complicated problems where you have negative exponents on the top and bottom, you're basically going to move the negative exponent term to the other part of the fraction and make the exponent positive. And when we simplify exponents, we always want to make them positive. So, simplify using only positive exponents. 4 times x to the 0 over y to the negative 3. So we're going to deal with these individually. The 4 is obviously 4. X to the 0 is always going to be 1. Y to the negative 3 is going to be moved to the numerator and the exponent is going to be made positive. So y to the negative 3 in the bottom becomes y cubed on the top. So 4 times 1 times y to the 3rd, or y cubed. Combine those and you get 4y cubed. So evaluate 1 over 3 to the negative 3. Again, you have a negative exponent in the denominator. So we're going to move the term into the numerator and make the exponent positive. So 1 over 3 to the negative 3 becomes 3 to the 3rd over 1. 3 to the 3rd equals 27. Go ahead and do 2C and 2D. Stop the video. Take a couple minutes to do it and restart it when you're ready. Alright, negative 5 to the 0 over 2 to the negative 2. Remember, the rules of order of operations means we have to do the 5 to the 0 first. So 5 to the 0 equals 1. So the numerator is going to equal negative 1 when we're finished with it. In the denominator, you have 2 to the negative 2. You're going to, again, move the term to the numerator and make the exponent positive. So, negative sign is still there. 5 to the 0 is 1. 2 to the negative 2 in the denominator becomes 2 to the 2nd in the numerator. So negative 1 times 4 is negative 4. 2D, 3 to the negative 2, x to the negative 5th over y to the 0. So we're going to take these terms one by one. The y to the 0 is the easiest one to take care of. It's going to become 1. Now we have two terms with negative exponents in the numerator, so we're going to move both of them into the denominator and make their exponents positive. So the y to the 0 becomes 1. 3 to the negative 2 in the numerator becomes 3 squared in the denominator. X to the negative 5th in the numerator becomes x to the 5th in the denominator. So now we're going to simplify by combining all the expressions together and multiplying. 1 times 3 squared root of 9, x to the 5th gives us 1 over 9 x to the 5th. Alright, we're going to look at some product of powers. And the short version of this is if you're going to multiply two numbers with the same base with exponents, you are going to add the exponents together. A to the m times a to the n equals a to the m plus n. So let's use real numbers. So we have 2 cubed times 2 to the 4th. If you're multiplying two numbers together with the same base, you're going to add their exponents together. So 2 to the 3rd times 2 to the 4th equals 2 to the 3 plus 4, or 2 to the 7th. And this is true for any exponent so long as a is not 0. Next, we have the quotient of powers property. This time, you have two exponents, two terms with the same base, both with exponents, and you're dividing them. In this case, you're going to subtract the number on top over the number on the bottom. So a to the m over a to the n equals a to the m minus n. So for example, 4 to the 5th over 4 to the 3rd. Since you are dividing terms with exponents and both of the bases are the same, you are going to subtract the exponents together. So 4 to the 5th divided by 4 to the 3rd is same as 4 to the 5 minus 3, or 4 squared. Finally, we have the power of a power property. This is when you have an exponent of an exponent. So a to the mn equals a to the m times n. So if you're taking an exponent of an exponent, or power of a power, you're going to multiply the exponents together. So for example, 3 squared to the 5th is the same as 3 to the 2 times 5, or 3 to the 10th. So you're going to add exponents when you're multiplying exponents together with the same base. You're going to subtract exponents when you're dividing exponents of the same base. And you're going to multiply exponents when you're taking a power of a power. So example 3a, 3 squared times 3 to the 6th. We are multiplying exponents with the same base. We add the exponents together. So that's 3 to the 2 plus 6, or 3 to the 8th, which comes out to 6,561. Negative 4 squared over negative 4 to the 7th. So you are subtracting the exponents. You're going to take negative 4 to the 2 minus 7 because you're dividing two numbers, exponents, with the same base. So this becomes negative 4 to the negative 5. Now again, we will move the number to the denominator because we have a negative exponent. So that becomes 1 over negative 4 to the 5th, which comes out to negative 1 over 1024. So we have a couple things going on here. You are subtracting exponents because you're dividing exponents with the same base. And then you end up with a negative exponent. So you will have to move that term to the denominator and make the exponent positive, and then you will simplify it. Use your calculator to do these. Don't try to do these by hand. 3c, z to the 4th, all to the negative 3. So now we have a power of a power. So you're going to take z to the 4 times negative 3, which comes out to z to the negative 12. And again, you can't have negative exponents in your final answer. So again, you take that number, you move it to the denominator of fraction, and you make the exponent positive. Go ahead and do 3D, 3E, and 3F. Spend the next couple minutes working on those, and restart the video when you're ready. 10 to the 4th times 10 to the negative 6. So we are multiplying numbers with the same base, so we're going to add the exponents together. So 10 to the 4th times 10 to the negative 6 is 10 to the negative 2. Move the exponent to the denominator, make it positive, so that becomes 1 over 10 squared, which is 1 over 100. Negative 5 to the 8th over negative 5 to the 4th. So we have the same situation we had earlier where we have a negative number and then a number taken to a power. Remember, you do the exponent first. So it turns out you can cancel out the negative signs right away because it's like negative 1 on top and a negative 1 on the bottom. So now you're left with 5 to the 8th over 5 to the 4th. You're dividing numbers with exponents that have the same base. So you're going to take 5 to the 8th minus 4, which is 5 to the 4th, or 625. Finally, 6 to the negative 2, all to the negative 1. We have a power of power. we're going to multiply the powers together. So that becomes 6 to the negative 2 times negative 1. Negative 2 times negative 1 is 6 squared, and 6 squared is 36. All right, now you have enough material to try the homework that's due today. Do as much as you can. If you don't finish,